Okay, Lori, it's Charlie. I'm going to give you some information here, a lineup of tools and screws and stuff that you're going to have included in your package to put the cabinet together. If you take a look here on the left-hand side, uh, that red handle, long skinny piece with a point on it, that's called an awl, A-W-L. Going to use that to help you align the two mating pieces to help you get the screws in the right hole. It's not absolutely necessary, but it helps. This other tool here, it's a square drive screwdriver. It's got a, whoops, where'd it go? It's got a square tip on it, and that is used to drive these guys here. It's a square-headed pocket screw. This is what I use to put the cabinet together. There's two different sizes. These, this long blue screw, that's for mounting the cabinet into concrete. You said your room was made of brick or cinder block, something like that. I'm going to send you two different sizes. Those two blue screws, they're going to go whichever size you need. They're going to go down through a couple of holes in the bottom of the cabinet to mount it to the wall. Uh, this other first silver screw, that's an 1.25 inch square drive screw. And then you've got a smaller one that's 1 inch long. And this white thing at the end, this is actually a plug that we're going to use to fill in these holes for the screws. It just makes it look pretty. You just kind of slide it in and it'll stay in there. It just makes it look nice. Um, the way I have all of your pieces set up, I marked each one with an arrow. The arrow is always going to face you towards the front of the cabinet, okay? And I've got it marked like you can see here. It's either back, bottom, top, front. Also, on the ends of each piece, I marked each piece with a letter. Each letter has a mating piece with the same letter, and then you'll just put those two together. Put the screws in and tighten them up. One tip about tightening the screws, you don't want to crank down on them as hard as you can. Just snug them up until it pulls the two pieces together and there's no wobble between the two, and then give it another maybe 1/4 inch turn until you feel it like snug. Don't force it. You'll probably wind up either driving the screw through the other end of the wood or splitting the wood. um, that's just from experience. That's the reason I gave you two different sizes. The smallest screw is going to be used mostly to connect the top, bottoms, and the longest screw is for the frame. I'll have to double check on that, but either way, you'll have plenty of these to go around. I'll make sure I fill you in on which ones to use where later on another video. But again, this all, it's basically an alignment tool. So what you want to do is when you put the pieces together, you line them up. You take this piece, punch it, put it through the hole. All these holes are pre-drilled. You can see the end coming out. What you do is you make sure that that tip goes into the mating hole on, say, another piece, which I've got here. You'll see another hole. So that tip will just line them up, and then you can use the other screw to drive it in. Take the awl out, and then drive the other one in. Whenever you put two pieces together, you just want to make sure that the edges are flush and they line up nice and even and straight. And for now, I think that's probably about all you need to know in this video. I'll I'll probably have another one ready to go in a little bit, maybe maybe tomorrow. But basically, everything's going to be marked. It's going to be real simple to put together. As I put it together, I'll take the video of what it looks like. So it's basically foolproof. If you can, recite the alphabet and you can punch, turn a screwdriver, you're good to go. One thing about the wall, you want to make sure that the wall is fairly even. You don't want to have big, waves in the wall, because that'll tend to kind of twist the frame out of whack, and you might have a little bit of a problem sliding the doors, the smaller doors. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. You want to also make sure that when the cabinet is hung on the wall, the two blue screws that are going to hold the bottom into the wall, you may have to put shims behind the cabinet, between the wall and the cabinet, to bring the bottom out. Otherwise, you'll see that the barn doors will have a tendency to kind of like lean away from the bottom of the cabinet. So unless you want to, you don't want that to happen, you may have to put spaces in there. But that is what it is. If you can't do anything with the wall, that's the way it's gonna, it's just gonna hang. Okay, so that's about it for now. I'll send you another one of these shortly. Thanks.